Tacitus, portion 18. Quartum, 4 days before the Ides of January, there was a day foul with rain. It was all turbovoranted, it was confused with thunder and lightning, and beyond the usual amounts of heavenly threats, or the threats in the sky. In ancient times, this was observed as diremending or destroying these assemblies or these voting periods. But they didn't terrify Galba from continuing on into camp as a spurner of such things as only fortuitous or happening by chance. Or these things happen to remain by fate, after fate or something. And although they're significant, they should not be avoided. Apud frequentem contionem. Amongst a crowded assembly of soldiers with imperial brevity, he pronounced that himself was adopting Piso. Piso was being adopted by himself, following the example, or by the example of the divine Augustus, and by the mores of the military, by military habits in which a vir would legeret another vir, a man would pick another man. Acne, unless by dissimulating or pretenses, because he believed the sedition would be going in a bigger way, the rumours maybe, he asserted, or asseverated, in addition, that the 4th and the 22nd legions, with a few authors of this sedition, had not gone beyond words and voices to have erred, and in a brief amount of time, they would be back in their office, in their duties. Everything's under control. Nec ullum, neither was there any linocium or pretium added to this oration, so there was no flattery or no rewards or gifts given when he addressed them. Nevertheless, the tribunes and the centurions and the proximate soldiers, the nearby soldiers, having gracefully listened, they responded. But through the rest of them, there was with a mastidia, it's a gloominess and a silence. There was, actually that's in the accusative. Tamquam, just as if, what have we got here? Usurpatum. Okay, so they'd lost in war. These gifts would be given even in peace. So there's a bit of gloom that they weren't getting a bit of a reward. Okay. Linocium, Daily Dictionary, pandering, enticements, and flatteries. Okay. What have we got? Constat. It's agreed he would have been able to conciliate or reconcile these minds with a bit of liberality, quantum cool it, with the smallest amount of liberality on the part of this old man who was very sparing and thrifty and stingy. The antique rigour of his and his excess severity was what harmed him, to which no longer we find these things pares or equally fitting or something like that. 19. Inde. Then, apud the Senate, at the Senate, it was not more elegant or something like that. Was the sermon or words of Galba, and not longer than they'd been apud the milites amongst the soldiery. The oration or little speech of Piso was comely or something, and the favour of the Senate fathers, adorat, was there as well. Multi, many were with a good will to this, where they were willing for this adoption. Those who didn't want it were more effuse or flowing in their viewpoints, but in the middle were most of them obsequious. They met this with obsequiousness. They went along with it because it looks like his reason they were agitating private hopes without public care, without care to the public events, so they were looking out for themselves. The plurimi, most of them were. Nec aliud, nor was there anything other in the following 4 days, quidruo, which was in the middle between his adoption and his cadem, his death or slaughter. Things said by Piso in public or done. So there was not anything else said or done in public. More frequenter from day to day in DAs were these announcements of the defections of Germany, the rebellions of Germany, seditions, and easily in the city the people were to accepting and believing all these news or all the new things. With Tristia, could be compared, that could be good news and bad news, as they say, or just was received with a bit of sadness. The patres, the fathers, since warranted, they wanted or decided that legates would be sent of the army to Germany. Okay, agitatum was agitated in secret or discussed whether also Piso should set out under this bigger pretext. With the authority of the Senate, they would be, and Piso, he would be Leturus, he would be bearing the dignity of Caesar. So it's a twofold thing: authority of the Senate and the position of the dictator or leader, emperor. Placabat. So it was also decided that Laco, of the prefect of the Praetorians, he should be to be sent simul at the same time. But he interceded in this plan. He didn't want to go along. Also, legates for the Senate had permitted the election, the choosing of them, to Galba. With a failing consistency or two-mindedness or something, he named these legates, their excuses and substitutions, and a bit of vying in between of who would remain or go, as each one was push them or fear push them. So I guess fear made excuses, etc. And that's all there is today.